And it was an insane thing. It's all over the internet. You guys can Google it.
This is why at the beginning of the year, it's really useful to take proper time to say, what is my outcome? What is my priority? And what is my measure? Because although it's simple, the power in that is immense. So you want to make sure you're focusing on the right thing.
Are we live? Are we live? We're live! Hello and welcome, everybody. I'm Susana Kennedy, and I'm super excited because this is the first new round of Thrive Network, and we are going to be bringing to you the best speakers, the best thought leaders, the best experts from around the world to empower you to not just simply survive, but truly thrive, creating a life that you love and creating an experience of yourself that you love. And this is so close to my heart. Why is it close to my heart? Because I've been on the other side. I've been in the space where I was truly suffering and not enjoying my life and not loving myself. And I've stepped into an abundant life where I am surrounded by beauty, amazing things are happening all the time. I live in my favorite place in the world, Cape Town, on the beach, and I do work that truly fulfills me. And why am I telling you this? To make you jealous? No, not to make you jealous, because I want you to know that if it's possible for me, it's possible for you too. And in 2025, I believe we want to make a 2020 thrive. We deserve to make a 2020 thrive, a year that is full of all of the things that you need to create the life that you truly want to live. And we're starting out by inviting some of the best people to help us creating wealth. So today's session is about creating wealth. It's called Thrive in Wealth. What are your 5 steps to make 2020 thrive? And I've invited an amazing friend of mine, Scott Pickin. He has got over 20 years experience in the investment world. And he founded his first business when he was 26 years old. I mean, can you imagine that? And 20 years later, he is still working hard to empower people financially across the globe. He enables you to make financial investments all over the world, easy peasy Japanesey, and I will tell you about that later. But right now, I want to invite Scott to join us. He is going to be telling us about his 5 things that he does every single year to make a 2020 thrive. Before I do that, where in the world are you tuning in from? Hello, Anna. Hello, Kalish. Hello, Linny. Hello, Katya. Hello, Katie. Hello, Boko. Hello, Vishu. Hello, David. Hello, Tamsin. Where in the world are you tuning in from? I love to celebrate our global community. So please just pop in the comments below where in the world that you are tuning in from so that I can celebrate you. I will try and say all your names throughout the program, but I don't know if I'll get to all of you. So please do know that I'm seeing you all. I appreciate you all. And I really am happy to have this opportunity to connect with you. Hello, Willie. Hello, Chara. Hello, Alex. Hello, Robin. Hello, everyone. And I see that you're tuning in from London. Hello, in the UK, USA, Miami. Hi. Welcome. I always get so surprised when people tune in from the States because I know it's like the middle of the night. New York City. Hello from India. Welcome. And we've got who else? Oh, we've got Singapore tuning in. Hello. And Australia. Woo! Hello to Australia. I spent 2 months in Australia last year and it was so much fun. And South Africa. Hello. Of course, I always love my fellow South Africans tuning in. So we've got a beautiful global community tuning in, and I love that we are all connected on this human journey through life. And that is what keeps us connected, is knowing that we have this in common. We're all going through struggles. We're all going through love. We're all going through moments of joy, of peace, of harmony, and we're all going through moments of real challenges. And so we are all connected on this journey as one. And so I welcome you with all of my heart. Hello, Map. Hello. Hello, Ruby. Lovely to have you here. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, for the first time ever on Thrive 2025, it is January and we are welcoming my good friend, Scott Pickin. And the crowd goes wild. Welcome, Scott. How are you doing today?
Hello, everyone. Yeah, very good. Thanks. You're never going to get as much energy out of me as yourself. So I'll happily play second fiddle here.
No need to match my energy. Your energy is absolutely beautiful to see. We've been welcoming people from all over the world. Ruby is saying, "Hey there, gorgeous. Lovely to see you again. Hi, Ruby." And people are tuning in, Scott, already from the States, from India, from Singapore, from all over South Africa, from Europe. It's so great to have everyone here. And I was just telling them a little bit about you and how excited I am to have you here today discussing your 5 things that you use to set yourself up to not just survive, but to truly, truly thrive. And this is the reason why I created Thrive, was so that we could connect with the best teachers, speakers, healers, thought leaders, professionals in the world. And I really do see you as one of those individuals who has their heart in the right place and is doing a purposeful job in this world that is heart-led. And that's why I invited you here today. So thank you so much for making the time. I really, really appreciate it every time you come and share with our community. How is Neisner today? It looks like a beautiful day behind you.
Yeah, no, well, to be honest, well, firstly, thank you very much for what you said. And equally, one of the things I've learned in life is I want to only work with people I like. I've spent too much time, where you're trying to make money and you're kind of working with people you don't like and, blah, blah, blah. And so, yeah, one of the things I really focus on now is trying to work with people I like. So I love coming and sharing with your community and equally working with you. It's a great honor and a privilege. In terms of Neisner, my partner Alex is running the Passive Income Challenge in my studio. And I actually thought, well, you told me I'm not allowed to share slides, so I might as well come and sit and have a conversation outside and make everyone a little bit jealous with the amazing view behind me. It's actually low tide, so you can't see all the water behind me. I'll do this just to show everyone the view behind me. But yeah, it's spectacular. The weather's beautiful and there's no wind. So I thought, well, I might as well sit outside and enjoy it.
Absolutely perfect. Guys, for those of you that don't know, I've been to his home in Neisner. He lives right on the water. There's these beautiful water canals all the way around his home, and he just jumps on a boat. He doesn't need to drive places. He just jumps on his little boat and goes out into the heads. I mean, right out of his door. I think it's so beautiful, the life that you've created for yourself, Scott. And that's why I thought you would be such a great person to have on board. We actually had a little giggle together, you and I, because I just affirmed with you. I said, nobody comes on Thrive unless they've demonstrated in their lives that they've embodied what they teach. And that is so, so, so important to me because there are so many people that are teaching things, but they haven't actually embodied what they teach. And I really want us to learn from people that truly embody what they are teaching, because then I know that it's going to work for you guys, and I can practice it as well. So when I asked you for your 5 tips, you were like, okay. And I said, no slides, Scott. Because Scott loves a slide. You came up with some lovely ones, and we had a beautiful discussion around it. And it was quite interesting because your first one actually resonated so deeply with me, because it's a tool that I use for manifesting quite often, which I don't know if you classify it as that, but please do share. What was your number one thing that you do every single year?
So can I just before I go there, I just want to kind of share something that is extremely important and probably one of the biggest learning lessons I've had over the last, like I've been doing personal development now for sure, it's close on 3 decades. Like it's somewhere between 25 years and 30. I need to do the maths, but the reason I'm saying this is that And I don't want to be arrogant, but I have kind of done it all, whether it's Tony Robbins, Chet Holmes, Roger Hamilton, you name it. And a lot of them are quite complicated systems. Tony Robbins has the RPM system, and I could go on and on about all these systems. And I've really spent a lot of time when I plan the year out, and I actually showed Susana yesterday. I mean, I've got goal sheets that would blow your mind with the amount of energy and effort, that I've put in over the years. And I think the most important message I wanted to try and share with people today before we go into those 5 things is actually simplicity is power. So if you've got 300 things to do, you're not going to do them. I guarantee it. But if you've got 3 things to do, you're going to get them done. Okay. And actually, if you've got 1 thing to do, you've got even more chance. You've probably got 3 times more chance of getting the 1 thing done. So I just wanted to start with that. And that then gives you the essence of when Susana said, give me, your top 5 productivity tools. If you'd asked me that 5 years ago, probably 5 years ago, certainly 10 years ago, I don't know where I would have started, but I would have given you manuals and books and processes and everything. And actually, for me, today, what I'm going to share with people, just don't, the simplicity is the power and the theory is the easy part, but it's the doing part that's hard. Does that make sense? So all I'm saying is people
say that again, Scott, because I think that's so important. Can you say that again?
Well, sometimes when people hear things that are simple, they kind of go, whatever, we know that stuff. Okay. But most of us know stuff and are not doing it.
Yeah, but what did you say? What were your words that you just said? Simplicity is?
Simplicity is power.
And what did you say next to that? Simplicity is power.
Well, again, I don't know the exact words I said, but the essence of what I said is that people know what to do, but that's irrelevant. It's actually doing it. And so I just want to give context before we go into those 5 productivity tips, because what I'm about to share with you is not groundbreaking. and for me, it was like, it took me 14 years of personal development. It was only in 2011 that I finally had this epiphany moment where it was like, stop going and learning new shit and actually just do it.
I'm laughing because it's so true. I'm literally laughing because it's so, so true. I'm going to actually listen back because I think that what you said could be turned into a quote, but I'm just going to take simplicity is power out of that and just recap it for everybody who is tuning in now and who's just needing to focus, because right now, one of the biggest problems I think that people have is a lack of focus. And the reason for that is we've got social media, we've got so many things going on in the world, in our lives, and we're getting news. I mean, we used to get the same amount of news apparently that you get in a year, we now get in 1 day, right? And so the amount of information that we're needing to absorb is so much that we're on overload. So I love that you started with saying simplicity is power. And if you just focus on 3 things, you've got so much more chance of getting where you want to go. If you focus on 1 thing, you've got even more of a chance of getting where you want to go. But I really want the audience to get that. Did you guys get that? Brenda, did you get that? Pavo, did you get that? Yes, yes, yes. Lauren, okay. Thumbs up coming up. Beautiful. Okay. And it's so true. We know what to do, but we don't actually do it. So let's break it down, because even though you broke it down so beautifully for me yesterday, I think let's break it down for the audience. What is your first step?
So the first step's one that it's interesting because, and I hope you don't mind me quoting where I'm a big believer in telling people where I learned stuff from. So I learned this originally from Roger Hamilton, where things move in cycles. And I know, Susana, with your community, everyone knows this because of the energetic movements and stuff. But the first thing is what's called your future vision. Now, there's different words for it. I've done the future vision. I know you and I were talking about this yesterday. I did Life Book, which was also amazing. But at some level, it's a bigger picture plan of like, what is your life about? Because you can't have a successful year, like 1 year, unless it's part of a bigger picture plan. So I'm not saying that you need to do that every year, but if you haven't done it, then you should do it, if that makes sense. Okay. So at some point you've got to sit. I mean, during COVID, I did my Life Book, and if you want me to, I can run to my office and go and get it. Oh no, I can't show people. Anyway, forget about it. But I mean, it's a proper book. I mean, it's like 270 pages, and it's all about the 12 areas of your life: your business, your relationships, your health, your spiritual, everything. And And the one that I prefer with Roger Hamilton is even simpler, and this is where I think it ties in with mini manifestation. And by the way, I'm super excited to be involved in that. I think you're starting in February with it, and the reason being is that what I like about the way Roger taught it was you put yourself on the 31st of December. So like we're in January 2025. So you put yourself in the 31st of December 2025 and you look backwards. But the languaging and the way you do it is, I'm super grateful because Susana and I have, done really well with Thrive and empowered many, many people around the world. And by adding value to them, we've had a super productive year and created a lot of profit, as an example. I'm just giving an example of something. Okay. So you look backwards, you start with gratitude, and then but you also talk about the how. Like, it's not just, I'm grateful I made $1 million. Well, that's irrelevant because, like, how did you do it? So you think it through. So what you're doing is you're putting yourself in the future, and you're experiencing, the whole Joe Dispenza thing. You're experiencing the energy and the feeling, and then you're working backwards. And in your mind, you're going, okay, do this. And the way I learned from Roger is it's by telling a story. Like, you literally, like, it's almost like you're writing yourself a letter at the end of the year. So it's not super complicated. And I find I write my stories, and sometimes I read them at the end of the year, and I'm like, wow, that person had a successful year compared to my year. so but I do think it's important to write a letter as a stretch. It's one of those things where it's like, what's the big picture? So I've done that. I've got a 10-year future vision, and I tend to try and do it once a year. And the reason being is that it's that emotion. And I know you're much more adept at this than me, so I don't fully understand it. But it's that whole, you kind of be, do, have. Like, you have to create the emotion, and then you're going to do the things, and then you're going to have the things. Like, you have to be the person to create it. So, yeah, I don't know how much detail you want me to go into for all of them. And my assumption is that mini manifestation is the same process, really, if you think about it. Well, this would be you can tell me if I'm completely wrong. But ultimately, you're manifesting something by bringing that energy, having clear focus on what you want, and then reverse engineering it to make it a reality.
Well, mini manifestation uses a number of different manifestation tools. And if anybody's interested, you can jump into the link in my bio, and there's a free introductory talk in the link in my bio. So you can go and check that out. But I want to focus on this future projecting, because I think that it's a beautiful thing to do. And I think there were two parts to what you were saying there. The one part, and tell me if I'm wrong here, Scott, the one part was working with some sort of system that uses the wheel of life, which is there are many different coaches that work with the Wheel of Life system, and all of them work with them differently. I've got the Wheel of Life in my Kinst Me course, and so some of you will have experienced that before, but I know Tony Robbins has got one. I know Robin Banks has got one. I know that Roger Hamilton has got one. I personally haven't done Roger Hamilton's one, but I would love to. And I think that what that gives you is a holistic look of what you want your life to look like in all the different areas of your life. So looking at your spiritual connection, looking at your relationships, looking at your health and well-being, looking at your finances, looking at your purpose in life. Am I right? And going through all of the different ones, I haven't mentioned them all now, but that creating the big picture. And then the second step to what you were saying is then writing a letter. So this is called future projecting for those of you who don't know this process, but writing your future self a letter of gratitude for having experienced or created the things that you did in that year. So you write it as kind of a recap of like, oh my goodness, thank you so much. When we did this, this is how good it felt. And this is how proud I am of you. Am I correct? Am I getting that right, Scott?
Yeah, no, completely. That's exactly it. And then, so it's the feeling, but it's also to some extent the how. It's like, so and then, because what you're doing in your head is you're actually thinking through the steps that you've got to do to get to that place. And obviously it's allowing you in your brain to kind of, that's the goal. So the metaphor I like to use, and I always like to just talk in simple metaphors, but if you don't do this process, you're kind of walking around a mountain, and basically any path will work, and you could go up any hill. It could be Signal Hill, Table Mountain, Kilimanjaro. It makes no difference, okay? Because you don't know where you're going. You've got no destination. But when you get clear on the top of the mountain, I've had the privilege of climbing Kilimanjaro, and you go up and down like for 5 days. It's actually hectic. It's a hell of a hectic thing. But there's one there's one top to Kilimanjaro. There's not five, there's not 10, there's one. And so you get lost. And I mean, we had some tragedies where my mate fell over and, you know, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter. There's one top. So you keep focused on that one top. So what you're talking about with future projecting, future vision, it's all the same thing. It's like, what's your top of the mountain? Because if you don't know where your top of the mountain is, you're never going to get there.
Yeah, beautiful. I love that. And I love that imagery. You know, our subconscious really works with imagery beautifully. And so if you are wanting to step into the manifestation world, this is a beautiful place to stay, to play. And Scott, you actually work with manifestation, I think, far more than you know. I know that there's still a lot of things that you're going to get out of doing the mini manifestation course, which there's nothing mini about it. But I do believe that you already integrate some of these things into your life, which is beautiful to see. So from there, what is your next step? So you've created this overall picture, you've future projected, and what do you do next? Because you are
So,
all
so
about simplifying, right?
no, completely. And that's why I said to you, you know, that first step, my assumption is that you need that.
Mm.
Okay. Otherwise, you could walk up any mountain and the next step was irrelevant. If you've done that, then on a yearly basis, you might just check in and say, right, is it still on track? Is it still what I want? You know, et cetera, et cetera. You don't have to necessarily redo the whole thing. So the next step is you look at what you,
Do you do that once a year, that process?
yeah, once a year. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The next step I also do once a year. So then you sit down, you say, right, based on all that stuff that I've said I want, okay, and generally to use your wheel of life, generally you cover all 7 areas. You know, I've got a 12-year-old boy. What does that mean, you know, for our relationship, whatever. But actually you've got to get focused. So there's a rule of three. And it's interesting because I can't give you all the stats and the research, but just Google it, the rule of three. And it's the human brain, if it's given one option, it doesn't like it. If it's given two, it kind of feels a bit cornered. If it's given four, it gets confused. There's a scientific research that proves that three is the magic number. Now, think about most offers that you go on. When you get on an airplane, there's economy, business, and first class. Like I could go over and over and over, but you'll see that in marketing, sales, everything, it's generally in threes. And that's because the human brain can concentrate on three things. So after doing all of this stuff for years and having millions of bloody tasks and goals and everything else, I said, no, bugger that. I need three. What are my top three outcomes? So, you know, for me, you can call an outcome a goal. I don't really care what you want to call it. But the point being is that what are the top three things that I want to achieve? And then I say, to achieve that, what are the top three priorities that I need to focus on to make that a reality?
Hmm.
And then the third thing I do is I go, right, what would measure whether that's a success or not? So I'll give you a good example. Tony Robbins always says, people say, I want more money. So he gives them $1 and he says, piss off, you got you got more money. So the point is, like, the measure is like, what does it mean to be successful? So again, to use the Kilimanjaro thing, if your outcome is to climb Kilimanjaro, great. And for those of you internationally, Kilimanjaro is the highest mountain in Africa. So your outcome would be to, you know, I want to climb Kilimanjaro. Your priority is, well, you're probably going to have to get fit for like 3 to 6 months before you climb Kilimanjaro. And your measure is you either got to the top or you didn't.
Okay, so I love that. I think that that's so well explained. Is that and I love the rule of three. I wonder how many people who are watching live have heard of the rule of three. I definitely have, and I use it all the time. I love it. Three is a number that totally resonates with me on a deep level. And so I love the rule of three. And so just to recap, you look at what are your three outcomes? What are the three things you want to do? Um, then you look at what are your priorities? How are you going to achieve those three things? And what is your measures? Like what are your what can you define as it being achieved? So for instance, I want to live in a beautiful home on the beach. Well, have I moved into a house on the beach? That's going to be my measure by the end of this year. So those are your three things. Let me know if those resonate with you guys and if they make sense, because I think
And
this
I,
is really, really important, because we started the interview by saying when we simplify, then we've got so much more chance of actually achieving our goals. Then Scott was saying that we need to write things down and gain clarity. Now, a Harvard study took a bunch of entrepreneurs that were doing their MBA, and this is how important it is, guys. There were only a small percentage of the class, I think it was less than 5%, that actually wrote down their goals. Was it 3%, Scott? Thank you. 3% that wrote down their goals. And those 3% achieved more than the entire group collectively within the first year. And it was an insane thing. It's all over the internet. You guys can Google it and you'll see that it's there. And so step one is writing things down and really gaining that clarity. Step two is simplifying. Okay, what are the things you want to achieve? 3, what are the priorities? How are you going to get there? And how do you measure that you have gotten there? Have you achieved your goals? So I love those. Those are such great.
Could I also just give a little bit of
Yes.
context to this measuring thing? Because at our mastermind level, I deal with this all the time. I dealt with it just this morning again. So when people say measure, and let's just keep using the Kilimanjaro analogy, they go, well, my measure is I got to the top of Kilimanjaro and I felt good and my shoes were fine and my bag hadn't leaked and I don't know, like 20 other things. And I always go, no, one thing. Like
Okay.
one thing, black or white. Did you have a photo? If anyone knows Kilimanjaro, you'll know what I mean. Do you have a photo of you standing near the top at the top of the mountain? Yes or no? Like black or white. If you've got 5 or 6 things, then you can kind of half finish, but you're not finished. Like it's
Okay.
got to be very tangible, very clear, and very simple. So I'll give you an example. The gentleman I'm not going to mention his name, but the gentleman I was helping with this morning is immigrating to Portugal. And he was like, well, my measure would be I've sold my house, I've left my business, I've done this. I was like, dude, it's not that. It's you and your family are in Portugal. Finished. It's black or white. You're either in Portugal or you're not.
I love how you're doing that because you're just simplifying. We as humans, we love to complicate things and add a whole lot of details and things, but you're just simplifying. You're saying, what is the final destination? What is that one thing that allows the measurements of everything else collectively to have happened in order for that one thing to be true? So
Yeah,
I love that.
and this is why you asked this. Sorry for butting in, but you asked this. This is why at the beginning of the year, it's really useful to take proper time to say, what is my outcome? What is my priority? And what is my measure? Because although it's simple, the power in that is immense. So you want to make sure you're focusing on the right thing.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think that's also why I wanted to focus at the beginning of this year on the 5 things so that we can start. And I should have maybe made it the 3 things, Scott, now that we're having this conversation, but we're going to stick to 5 for now. So that we can actually get where we're wanting to go. I think you guys know that I've been very honest and vulnerable about the fact that last year was an incredibly challenging year for me. And I know that I got what I needed, but I didn't necessarily get what I wanted in certain areas of my life. And this year, I'm wanting to be super laser focused on achieving certain things in my life. And so I am reaching out to amazing people like Scott so that I can get as many tools brushed up. And I love looking at the commonalities, Scott. That's one of the reasons why I love having conversations like we had yesterday and like we're having today, is I love looking at the commonalities between successful people and people who are really living what they are teaching and seeing what those commonalities are. Because I think when we find those threads, it makes it so much easier for us to like go, this is a no-brainer. This is what I need to do. So yeah, I really, really like it. But now one of the things that I think is challenging is staying on track. And so I know that this is part of your number 3. I know
Yeah.
that that's the 3rd thing that you've got on your list. So how do we keep people on track? Because it's all great. Everybody starts the year feeling really energized and excited about where they're going to go. But how do we actually stay on track?
Well, the stats are something like 14% of people that have New Year's resolutions achieve them, and only 6% of the ones that write them down. So the chances are 90% of people listening to this are not going to achieve their, even if they do that, write down the outcomes or whatever. Um,
No,
which
guys, do it.
which brings me to something that I learned when I joined my first mastermind in 2011. So we had a monthly check-in, and I was the type of student who did my homework the night before. But the point being is that, so like I'd had this whole month to get stuff done, but the night before I had the mastermind, I would like check in, I'd get the stuff done and whatever. But the lesson I learned from that was that if I didn't have the check-in once a month, I would have blinked, it'd be December and I wouldn't have got anything done. Whereas actually what I was doing is every month I was making tangible progress along it. So what I do for myself and for my mastermind members is I every month we check in and we say, right, you had those top three outcomes, you had those top three priorities and the top three measures. So every month, just review what they were and give me one action item per outcome that you're going to do for the month. Okay. So just one thing, not 10 things, one thing. And then when you come back the next month, so let's say it's now the end of January and you've said you're going to do it for January, I use a robot system. So green, you've done it, orange, it's in progress, red, it's not done. Literally make it colorful. And you then review it and you say, shit, I've done this, I haven't done that. Like, okay, right, what am I focusing on for February? And so every month you're checking in. So you're going back to what you agreed in January with yourself. And every month you check in and saying, and by the way, trust me, I don't remember a month where I've got 3 greens in a row. It often doesn't work like that. Okay. So, it might be a green, an orange, and a red, whatever. But the point being is you look in and you go, okay, cool. Where am I? Okay, what am I focusing on next month? Then you get to March and it's like, right, what did I say what I'd do for February? Yes or no? Right, what am I doing for whatever the next month is, March or April, whatever, the sequence. And everything I'm telling you doesn't take time. This doesn't even take 15 minutes.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
literally doesn't take 15 minutes a month. It literally does not take 15 minutes a month. But if you do it, and I mean, if you want me to, Susana, I can share my template with you and maybe you can give it to people as a tool or something, a gift, where you literally just check in because this is not about complication. This is about focus and simplicity.
Amazing. I think it would be great to get that template as a gift to everybody. How do you guys feel about that? I think it would be wonderful. I see some hearts going up. So I think people would appreciate that. And I know that one of the things is having someone outside of yourself to hold you accountable. A lot of people struggle to keep themselves accountable, but joining a group of any kind, or even just having one person that checks in with you once a month makes the world of a difference. Now, I know you run a mastermind and you have different groups that people can be a part of. Is that your group that keeps you accountable because you've
Well,
got
I
your
mean, look,
mastermind?
so I do both. I cheat a little bit. Okay, so the one thing is, if I ever want to do something, I create a challenge where like I get my community involved, and then it's like, well, shit, I can't fail now. So when we did the Tour de France, we did a push-up challenge, and we had to do push-ups for every kilometer that they rode. It was like 3,500 push-ups in 21 days. And I know that if it was just me on my own, I would have skipped it and whatever. But now you're part of a group of people and you like said you're going to do it. So, I mean, I was in the middle of bloody game reserves doing push-ups and whatever. And I know it's a silly, stupid example, but the point being is that, so I use community massively because I know that when I say I'll do something, it's like one of my most core values. When I say I'll do something, I'll do it. So if I put it out there publicly, then it's basically done. It's just a matter of time of the doing part. Okay. So the second thing I do is I do have an accountability partner. You've met my coach, and she's ruthless, and she takes no prisoners. So for me, it's both. I have it at an individual level, and then I use community as well. But I mean, anyone can find a mate, through your Thrive community. Reach out, find a like-minded person. It's just having that extra person. I always joke with going to gym. I have a gym coach. Okay. How many mornings do I wake up and not feel like going to gym? But because Marcel's there, I go to gym. If he wasn't there, I would find 50 reasons why I shouldn't go to gym.
Absolutely. No, no, no. I think the power of community and the power of another person outside of yourself is massive. And so I'm going to make that the title of your number 3. But just to recap, it's a monthly check-in.
Yeah.
So Scott is going
But,
to
but ideally with someone else. So what I do is you check in personally and you make sure you're up to date, and then you're accountable to someone to give feedback because you have to do it.
Yeah. So it's a monthly check-in, guys, and ideally with someone else, whether it's an individual or whether it's a group, that makes all the difference. Yeah, and I know that for me, it makes a massive difference as well. Scott, I'm with you. There are some, if you don't have somebody outside, it makes it so easy to slip into, old ways of being. And remember, our lives are a sum of our habits. And if you're wanting to create new habits, habit forming, one of the most recommended things is to get somebody that holds you accountable outside of yourself because guys, we need it. We're human and so we can fail. But if we've got somebody there, you show up in a completely different way. And talking about daily habits, I think that's your number 4, if I'm correct. Our life is the sum of our habits. So how do you take everything that we've spoken about now and put it into daily habits that really sustain your vision?
So one of the things I find most funny is people are like, I want to make more money, or I want to lose weight, or I want to have a great relationship. And it's like, cool, how much time are you putting into that every week? No, I don't have time. I mean, I have this all the time. Okay, when it comes to investing, it's like, I don't have time to do that. I'm like, okay, so you want to be financially free, or you want to have passive income or whatever, but you're not putting in any time now. Yeah. Well, I guarantee it won't happen. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and I don't care whether it's a relationship. If you want a healthy marriage, you need to put time in. It doesn't matter what it is. If you want a good body, you need to do exercise, whatever. So to answer your question, you go back to those 3 outcomes and those 3 priorities, and then you structure your week to allow you time to execute on what you've said you need to do. And for me, and I always say this, I've never ever, I mean, you design your perfect week, but I've never ever had, it's never gone 100% according to plan. But again, if you're clear on what you want, then you can generally set yourself up for success, 70, 80, maybe even 90%. But it's better than nothing, where you're just ad hoc and all over the place. And the gift that I learned in this space around time management is there's an incredible book called The One Thing by Gary Keller, the guy that started Keller Williams, which is one of the biggest property companies, real estate companies in the world. And the simple principle of the book is, if something's important, put 4 hours aside in the morning, 4 hours before you get any distraction, and do it. So if you start work at 9 o'clock in the morning, you block out from 9 till 1 on a couple of days to ensure you get that done. And you don't allow any distractions in, no phone calls, no meetings, no Instagram, watching, Susana on Instagram, whatever. Like, because back to what you said earlier about distraction, if you get distracted, it takes somewhere between 15 to 30 minutes to get back on track with your important thing. And if you have 7 distractions a day, that equals 6 weeks a year. Like, if you want 6 weeks of your life back this year, like, you could go on holiday for 6 weeks, just stop letting people distract you.
Hmm.
So this is back to, basically, there's 2 principles I'm teaching you here. There's time blocking. So set up your week for success. And then equally use that principle of the one thing, where, like, those 3 outcomes, you have to have time blocked in your week to ensure that you're putting time into those 3 things. Otherwise, they won't become a reality.
I think that is, like, I think possibly one of the most important things. Like, everything that you've been layering is so, so, so important. But unless we create the time within our lives and actually action things, if we've just thought about it and we just write it down, that's one thing. And maybe miraculously, you'll attract some of those things into your life. But actually scheduling time and then doing what needs to be done is the most valuable thing you can do. And I love that you said that your diary never stays perfect. So sometimes you juggle things around because life happens, right? But if you can just commit to twice a week those time blocks and keeping that for your 3 things, then you're going to be so much further than you would have been in any other, like, reality. Have I got that right, Scott? Did I
No,
really
no, no,
that?
no, no, completely. And I think there's one extra thing I'd add to that, is that, in my 3 things at the moment, none of them are, I'm going to call them health related or friend related or anything. But to hear me out quickly, but that still doesn't mean I haven't time blocked time with my son, or time with playing sport, or, like, I love paddle and mountain biking and time blocking. So my point being is that I've time blocked those in. And one of the great lessons I learned only in the last 3 years, I would say, is I was the one of those people who worked my ass off all week, and I got to the weekend, I was like, yay, relief. And I thought, actually, why didn't I just enjoy the whole week? So, like, I play paddle on a Tuesday, I do gym on Tuesday morning, then I do paddle on a Thursday, I do mountain biking. And it's not about me. I'm just saying I've time blocked them. So you won't get me in a board meeting at 9 o'clock on a Tuesday. You won't get me in a mastermind set. You just won't get me because I'm on the paddle court. You know what I mean? So it's basically setting up your life for success, not just for the 3 outcomes, but actually having a happy, fulfilled life as well.
Absolutely. And that's actually one of the things, I told you that I like cross-referencing, and one of the things that has come up in many of the different systems and people that I've been looking at is setting aside that quality time that allows you to look after yourself and connect with loved ones. So often what we do is we pack our calendar so full of everything that we need to get done, and we forget to put in those buffer times that we require in order to live a happy life. And what is the point, guys? What is the point of doing this life if we're not scheduling time to make things happy? Like Scott will laugh and know that this is true, but I schedule time to spend on the beach. It is one of my priorities. I love being on the beach. I love just grounding in the sand, swimming in the ocean. It makes me a different human being. And so I schedule that into my diary. So I love that. So time blocking to focus on your three things and making sure that you schedule in time for all of the beautiful things that make you feel looked after as a person. So your gym time, your time with family. I think that this is so balanced and so beautiful. So what would be the last step in your five steps to thrive?
I mean, this is where I mean you're a master at this, but basically it's just your daily habits. And so as an example, one of the things I learned from Tony Robbins is what he calls his prime. And every morning, you know, and I'm not saying his one, I know you've got ones as well, Susana, but the point of being is that every morning you start off with breathing. So you've got breathing going through your body, then you got gratitude. If you're grateful, you can't be angry or sad. You know, then you've got this energetic thing. If you're religious, it's religious. If you know energetic, then it's energy. And then it's your top three outcomes. So every day you're like, right, what were those three outcomes? And in my case, I do the three outcomes plus the three measures. So they're top of mind all the time. Okay. And that whole little process takes 10 minutes. Okay. And then, you know, and Tony Robbins' Prime has a nice music thing afterwards, which is a bit of a celebration. But the point being is that just that every day, now you suddenly get a call from Susana and she says, hey, do you want to come and do an Instagram post? Whatever you're doing now, five series. I don't know what to call it exactly. And it's like, actually, is that on target with one of my three things? Yes or no? And it is. So therefore I'm here. But maybe it's, do I want to go and have coffee with Joe Soap? I mean, I know, Susana, you're the same as me. We get invited to things all the time and you have to go, no, I can't be there because that's not going to achieve my outcome. So what it helps you do by making, because what most people do is they do those three outcomes and I promise you in a week, they can't remember what they are. And yet if you ask me, I know exactly what my three things are, what my three priorities, what my three measures are, because I'm just mentally checking in every morning to make sure. And then obviously you've already got your weekly schedule. So that day should have some sort of structure to it already. But again, are you on focus? Are you on point? Are you doing what you say you do? Because you're basically not living your life. What's the word? I can't think of it right now, but you're not living it on autopilot, like and just kind of doing and going with wherever the wind blows or whatever metaphor you want to use. It's like, no, that's what I said I want for the year. What do I need to do today to move the needle forward to make that a reality?
I love that. And I think I said it earlier on, but our life is a sum of our habits. And what I loved about what you said there is that daily reminder that this is what I'm focused on. And I know that a lot of people have actually written to me and they've said, focus, that's the thing that's lacking in my life is focus. And so this is a beautiful invitation, guys, for everybody that's listening. What a wonderful way of just integrating a really simple system that allows you to focus on what you want to achieve, remembering what your three things are. What are the three things that you want to achieve? And what today can you do that brings you closer to those three things? So even if it's just 5 minutes and having that in your head, it will allow you to make better decisions. And I love that, Scott. I think it's
Well,
really,
on top of that, I mean, you asked me for five things, and specifically, I wanted to give you I wanted simplicity and structure, but there's always add-ons. Like, so those things, you could have a vision board. You know, for people that are visual, I know Judy, you've met Judy, I think, a very powerful, successful business lady, and she has a vision board. And you know, when I can't remember exactly where it is, but somewhere where she's making her makeup every morning, she sees the board. So that's the same as what I just said. You're kind of checking in with like, what do I said I'm going to do for the year, you know? And she's got beautiful pictures. And I mean, last year she wanted to walk to base camp in Nepal, and you know, it's a feat, it's a proper feat, and she did it. So I just think all I'm trying to say, Susana, is find what works for you. Just because it works for me or it works for Susana doesn't mean it works for you. But the principles of what I've tried to share are quite simple, They're very focused. And if you notice in a rhythm, they start with more than annual, let's call it decade, then annual, then monthly, then weekly, then daily.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's so beautiful. For those of you who've just tuned in, and also for those of you that have been listening the entire time, we went over Scott's 5 things that he does that ensure him a really successful year every year. And so I want to just recap them. It's number one was future vision. And so creating a real beautiful vision for your life, for your future. And what he included in that was a writing technique, which some people call a future visioning technique, where you write a letter to your future self, thanking yourself for showing up in all of those ways that allowed you to actually experience the life that you have achieved as if it has already been achieved. I love that. Number two was really getting clear and simplifying with the rule of three. And so, what are your 3 top outcomes? And getting down to the nitty-gritty of them, right down to simplifying them as much as possible so that you're not writing a lot of things, it's just one sentence, and then working towards those on a daily basis. Number three was a monthly check-in with an accountability buddy. So either that is one individual or a group. So for instance, Scott runs a mastermind. I've got a community. Scott's got a community. And often we will use our communities as our accountability buddies. But we've also got coaches. Both of us have coaches. I think that it would reflect really poorly on both of us if we didn't have coaches that we were working with, because we really understand and believe in the power of coaching. So that was number three. Number four was your weekly planner. And I love that. The weekly planner involved time blocking. That was one of the things that came through. At least 2 days a week that you are blocking out 4 hours that are working on those 3 things and how you can achieve them. And I think that that's such a beautiful way of doing it, and not forgetting to block out time to spend with loved ones, not forgetting blocking out time that really takes care of you and having those buffer moments. And then number 5 is your daily habits. How do you make sure that you set yourself up for success by having very small, very simple daily habits that keep you on track? And yeah, I think, did I get that all? Scott, was that a good recap?
Hold on, you're an incredible student.
Oh, thanks. And I see hearts going off in Instagram, so people are really loving this. I think it is so, so valuable. I would love to give them your Excel tracking system as just a gift. So if you can get that, I do actually have it. So should I just share the one that you've given me, or do you want to share me a specific one?
Uh-huh. Well, you're part of the mastermind, so you can just steal it. Just take
He has
everyone's names and numbers out.
Yeah, no, I can't do that. I'm part of Scott's mastermind as well. One of the other
I'm
reasons,
happy. I'm happy if you want to leave mine as like a guide. So like I'm the type of person, I always say this, when I was at university and I was doing my dissertation, whether it's my undergrad or my master's, I went in the library and I found who got, cum laude the year before, because I don't understand the point of like reinventing the wheel. Like just go and copy someone else. So I don't mean you copy the content, but you copy the structure. So I'm happy if you leave me in as an example of what to do.
beautiful. I agree. I think it makes it so much easier than starting from scratch, is when you actually see what other people have done. It makes it so simple in your mind. Oh, okay, that's a great example. Now what is mine? So thank you for that. I know that it's also very brave and vulnerable for you to do that. Phil is trying to join us. He keeps appearing in my participants. He keeps trying to join us. He's tried about 4 times. Shame. He'll have to watch the replay. But Scott, one of the reasons why I also invited you here, as you know, and some of you watching will know as well, is because I'm determined to help my community create sustainable wealth, like a life that is sustainably wealthy. And at the end of last year, we came up with a concept called Abundance 2025. And I really want to end this conversation with you speaking a little bit about Abundance 2025, because for me, if we don't have money, money is a tool that allows us the freedom to live life on our own terms. For me, that's what it is. So all of these um, disempowering beliefs that we have about money, these disempowering thoughts that we have about money, we need to remove those and really step into a reality where we understand that money is just a tool. It expands what you already are. And so if you are somebody who is measly and likes to just accumulate and not share, the more money you have, the more measly you'll be able to be. But if you are somebody that lives from an abundance mindset that understands that money is this energy that flows and it comes in, and you grow your pool, and as you grow in your pool, you're doing great things here and you're doing great things there, and you're enriching lives here and you're enriching lives there, it's just going to add to your capacity to be a generous human being. And I believe if you're watching this right now, you are like-minded, like Scott and I, that really want everybody to experience life on their own terms in a beautiful, abundant, loving, wonderful way. And so we've put together a beautiful package that is going to allow as many people as possible who join us to go on a journey of creating lasting wealth. So this is not a flash in the pan wealth, guys. This is lasting wealth. So it combines what Scott brings to the table with Wealth Migrate and Wealth University, and what I bring to the table, which is the manifestation and how do we get into that, creating this wealth quicker and quicker and quicker. So we've got the now, the present, and expansion, and we've got the expansion on a long-term basis. So do you want to maybe just tell everyone a little bit about what is included in the abundance package from your side, Scott?
Yeah, so I think the first thing that I would say there is that we've been helping people. So I mean, just to put in perspective now, we've helped people in 178 countries invest. So over $1.3 billion, paid out over $34 million in dividends and passive income. And I don't tell you that to boast. I just kind of tell you that to let you know that this is not my first time at the rodeo, if that makes sense. And one of the things we realized was that we built the platform. I mean, we invested $20 million building the platform, and you can now participate from $10. So just to be clear, anyone that kind of has this mindset, it's not for me, that's not the truth. So whether you got $10 or $10 million, it doesn't make any difference. But what we realized is the single most important thing was to get people to success. So you can learn about it, you can have the theory, but actually to get a passive income. So the first thing that we included was our passive income challenge. And why that's so important is because it ultimately helps you like make a passive income. Like so you get started, it's 4 weeks, it's 4 simple steps, and within 30 days you're earning a passive income. So stop talking about it, stop dreaming about it, but actually doing it. And there's a beautiful story there. I know, Susana, you met the gentleman, Derek, where he's a farmer and he only made $6. And like the excitement, he was like a kid on Christmas Day. And the thing is, he's been a farmer for 42 years. He's worked really hard for 42 years, but he's never made money while he sleeps. And he made $6. And he literally, because he realized if he can make 6, he can make 60. If he can make 60, he can make 600. And I think the rest is history. So that's the first thing. The second thing is I believe that if you want to invest, there's 2 things you need. You need the right information and you need the right partners. So there's only 2 things. You can confuse the hell out of it. It's simple. You need the right information and you need the right partners. So I built a course, a home study course. It was in conjunction with Clem Sunter, if people know who Clem Sunter is, another guy called James Painter. And ultimately, it helps people get the right information. So, what are the right countries to invest in? What are the right currencies to invest in? What are the right assets? And believe it or not, there's 15 assets that you should be investing in. Most people couldn't name 3. And I'm not being facetious, but we teach you what those top 15 are. How do you find the right partners and avoid the mistakes that 80% of people make? And then finally, how do you have a plan? Susana's sitting here and she says, right, in 10 years, I want X, because I want to back up what Susana said. This is not a get-rich-quick scheme. So like 5, 10, 20 years, I want X. Cool. What do you need to do today to get to that? And it all comes back to having that plan, in terms of the process. So what we've tried to do, Susana, is set people up for success where they've got access to the knowledge, they've got the theory, the knowledge and everything, but they've also got the platform. And within 30 days, they can start earning an income. And that's why we felt that was so valuable for the Abundance 2025 package, because you're getting the knowledge and you're getting the access. This is not a book on how to do it. This is actually a doing it exercise. And ultimately, like I always joke, but on my tombstone one day, I'd like it to be Scott Pickin results.
Scott Pickin results. Scott, it's going to say a lot more than that, my friend. There'll have to be a whole lot of words underneath in brackets. But yeah, big-hearted, truly cares about his community, truly works hard to help everybody get results. This is why I love working with Scott. There are many different amazing people that I've worked with for over the years, as you guys know, but I'm actually doing Scott's mastermind and I'm really enjoying it. I love the structure of it. I love that it's once a month. There's these check-ins. There's a few different opportunities to sit in on, talks and things like that. But it's just absolutely, it works for me and I'm getting things done and it fits in with my schedule. So, but that's not included in the abundance package. The abundance package, 30 days to passive income. Now, that for me is amazing. And I've already started my process. I'm super excited about it. I just got verified. By the way, Scott, I can now start investing.
It's only taken,
I
only
got the
taken five
message
years. Only
yesterday.
taken 5 years. That's why we had to set up the 30-day passive income challenge for Susana.
You did. Because the first time I met Scott, you needed 100,000 to invest. And I was like, okay, that's a lot of money. If you guys remember, that's when I was like finishing chemo and so it was not the right time for me. But then I met Scott and it was 10,000. And now when I met Scott, it was $10. And I'm like, okay, I can bring this to my community. It doesn't matter whether you can invest $10 or $100,000, you are able to invest and I can bring this to my community. And of course, I am your crash test dummy, guys. And so I'm in it and doing it as well with you guys. But I've met the people and I've seen the results. And that is what I absolutely love. I love seeing that there are people literally earning a passive income. And when we say a passive income, guys, it's never that you do absolutely nothing. A certain amount of effort is always required for setup. And there's a certain amount of effort that you need to do every once in a while, but it's very, very low amounts of effort and time. And so that is the first thing that's included is the 30-day passive income. The second thing that's included is you get the mini manifestation course. And there's nothing mini about it. It is 4 master classes that take you through all of the things that you need to do now to understand how to become a real master manifester. And it's amazing what people have achieved from doing my course. I remember one of my students, she had just started modeling. Well, she had been modeling actually for years, but she was getting those low paying, gigs. And she started doing mini manifestation. And I could not get to actually speak to her to hear what was going on because she was getting booked by Nivea, by Dove, like all of the big brands suddenly started booking her and her career just took off. That was the one student. I had another student that she owned a beauty salon and she was like, oh, what I'd really love to manifest is having a chain of beauty salons, and I'd love to have one somewhere overseas, maybe Dubai. Literally, guys, she got an investor that flew her over to Dubai to start her chain of beauty salons in Dubai within the time that she was doing the course. So there are so many different things that happen when you do the mini manifestation course. People just lost weight. Like they just started losing weight without making any effort. And it was because they felt happier. There was one client that said to me she had not felt anxious in years. And from doing the course, her anxiety was gone. So there's so many different things that you can manifest. Trips overseas. I mean, I've manifested $1 million before. That is rands. I've manifested trips overseas. I manifested my dream home on the beach, on my favorite beach, by the way. I've manifested so many different things. And so it's up to you. What version of life do you want to live and what do you want to create? But and then I've got Money Mastery, which is another product that I give you guys as well. And that's all about manifesting mula, guys, mula, money, so that you can invest with Scott or wherever you want to invest, and you can make lasting financial wealth and live a wealthy, abundant life. I think that's the key here is how do we live in abundance? take so many different forms. And so the Abundance 2025 is your portal that makes things super simple and easy and isn't overwhelming. And you can do each course back to back. The one is 3 weeks, the other one is 1 month, and it will set you up for the year. And we are starting on the first week of February. There's also a VIP package.
Yeah.
Scott Pickin, do you want to speak about
Well,
what's
I
included
well,
in
I
the
kept quiet because I didn't know if you want to confuse people. I know, or you can tell them, where do they get the link? How do they go and get access to read the details?
So the people that are in my Instagram at the moment can jump into the link in my bio. I'll also just paste it in the comments. And for those of you who are watching on YouTube, I will stick it underneath. And for those who are part of my network and receiving this as an email, you will see the link below as well.
Cool. So just on the VIP side, we decided both Susana and I are guilty of this, which is trying to over deliver. And so I said you get everything that you've just spoken about in the Abundance 2025 package, but what we chucked in the VIP was the Wealth Hackers. So that's like a Netflix for wealth. Okay, so we've literally built it like that. It's got about $60,000 worth of values. $60,000 worth of value. So courses that are worth over $60,000, and you get access to that for a year in terms of that process. And I mean, it's everything from tax to structuring to how to educate your children to making money to the Enneagram and wealth to the 6 pillars to wealth, which comes from a family office, to asset mastery, where you've got the top 15 assets. Really, it's like Netflix. You'll never get through all of it. So you go and you find the things that you like that are going to add value to you. So that's the one thing. And then on the other thing, which is important, which I'm learning now, which is happening around the world, is this energetic shift where people are wanting to be part of community and they don't want to sit at home and do home study courses on their own. They want to come and learn and be live like we're doing right now. And so every Friday at lunchtime, so 12 p.m. SA South African time or 10 a.m. UK time, I'm live for an hour to answer any Q&A on anything. So about the courses, what I think. I'm sure on Friday I'll get Trump and what does America First mean and what does it mean to our investments, all of that type of stuff. But basically, it provides a online environment to be able to ask questions. So that's from my side what we're offering in the VIP. So you're not just getting the knowledge, you're getting the investments, and you're getting access to me on a weekly basis.
That's right. And you get access to me on a weekly basis as well. So, so we're going to give you guys that access because of accountability, because of community. And Scott, didn't we say that we would do a special live, just you and I Q&A for our Abundance 2025 participants? I think
Yeah, correct. No, we did. So we guilty. We need to put that into our time blocker. But yes, I mean, I think the whole idea is that, I joke about results, but I'm in the game of helping people get results. So if people have blockages or there are things that are holding them back or they feel overwhelmed because they've got too many courses to do, it's not about that. It's about sequencing, it's about focus, and it's about getting results.
Absolutely. Okay, so if anybody is interested in that, you can click on the link below. If you're watching on YouTube or if you are part of either of mine and Scott's community. And if you're on Instagram, you can jump into the link in my bio and you can click on that and you can join us. I'm super excited about it, guys. I really think it is a game changer. Scott and I really thought hard about how we can support you guys in living the most abundant lives possible. And so I look forward to all of you joining us, every single one of you. And I see hearts going off. Thank you, guys. So much love for you. Thank you so much, Scott, for joining us today and for your time and your energy. It is always just so deeply appreciated. Your wisdom, your heart. You really are deeply, deeply appreciated. Thank you.
Well, I just want to, I mean, you've got an amazing ability to simplify what can often be complicated. And why I say that is that I'm actually really grateful for this opportunity. I've been teaching people about goals and productivity and everything. And I was literally sitting there the whole time going, I don't think I've ever made it so simple, like in 5 steps, like just do this, So I literally was thinking, crosses, I should write a book about this. Or, you know, and I say that with a smile on my face and with some humor, but like I've literally spent, as I started off, 25 to 30 years. I've read all the books. Like, I don't want to be arrogant. I've done the courses, but what we've just done today, I think, is groundbreaking for people because it takes all the best stuff out there and it breaks it down into 5 things. And I promise you, just do those 5 things and you'll see measurable results.
100%. I believe that as well. And this year, Scott, simplifying, actionable, achievable, like on your tombstone, you know, achieved. We are going to do all of the things and we're going to live abundant, beautiful, juicy, delicious lives. And I'm so excited that each and every one of you has joined us here today. And
Can I finish?
Scott has joined us.
Can I finish? Sorry, just before you wind off, I just want to tell that quick story that I told you yesterday about Chet Holmes. And he said, you know, now to put in perspective, this guy doubled the sales in 50 of the Fortune 500 companies. So that's 500 of the biggest companies in the world, and he doubled the sales in 50. I mean, you do it to do it in yours or my company is not that difficult, but doing a Fortune 500 companies, you know, something. And he did it in 50 of them. And he says the problem with most people is they're trying to do 4,000 different things. And all you need to do in his case was 12 things 4,000 different times. In this case, we've said 5 things. Literally, don't go and do 5,000 things, just do 5 things. And his analogy was, you know, when you learn karate, we all know the wash on, wash off, whatever. It's been a long time since I watched Karate Kid. But the point being is it's just do the same thing over and over again, and then you'll get the results. So yeah, I just wanted to finish with that.
No, that's perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you, Scott. Thank you to each and every one of you for being a part of this. Thank you for being a part of my community. Thank you for being a part of Scott's community if you're watching this. I deeply appreciate you. I deeply appreciate you showing up. The fact that you are showing up means that you are the light that you wish to see in this world. And by taking these steps, by actioning this, by living in your truth, in your purpose, that is the biggest gift that you can give to the world, because you are 100% unique. And you standing in your truth is going to make you and allow you to feel the most loved by yourself and everyone around you than you ever could imagine. So I'm sending you love. I'm sending you so much gratitude. Remember to be kind to yourself. Remember to be kind to everybody around you. Remember to expand love in every decision that you make. And I honor you. Lots and lots of love. Such a pleasure. I see that there's people sending hearts up on Instagram and saying thank you. Thank you, the Hot Company. Thank you so much. Such a pleasure. Oh, I got a gift from you guys. I'm going to do an unwrapping from the Hot Company. I'm very excited about that. But sending lots of love to all of you. Thank you. No problem, Joe. Lots of hearts. Thank you, Mikey. Thank you, Miss Ivok. Hello. Thank you, Adam. Thank you, Kathy. Thank you, Gunnar. Thank you, Sebi. Thank you, Dea. Thank you to Sepo. Thank you, Cheryl. Oh my goodness, I can't go through everyone, but I love you guys. Thank you. Bye for now. Oh, next week, same time, same place. Tell your friends. Okay, donate now. Okay, bye, like, comment, share. Okay, bye.